Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a very special returning guest in the corner. Would you like to unveil your secret identity to the masses?
Hello, my name is Raymond Lenzner. I'm the con chair of Comic-Con, and that's in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm also the con chair of Mississippi Anime Invasion in our state next door, Mississippi.
Very awesome to talk to you again, specifically considering the fact that Comic-Con is pretty huge this year. Their guest list has like expanded tenfold.
Yes, yes, it has. Our guest list got really big this year, and my wallet is screaming at me. But it's a fun thing. I heard Wendy Lee a while back at a panel how she always wanted a Cowboy Bebop reunion, and that is one of the big guests that we're doing is the whole Cowboy Bebop reunion, which is actually the first time it's happened, and that's crazy. But Wendy Lee was complaining that there had never been a Cowboy Bebop reunion, and I was like, that's really cool. I would like to try that, and I tried that for about 3 years.
It, it took
It's
it took
very
that
hard.
long? Was it due to schedule conflicts
All
or
schedule
or
conflicts, yes, yes,
okay.
tons of schedule conflicts. But eventually, I was able to get all four of the main voice actors of Cowboy Bebop for their big, reunion, and I was like really happy. I was like, "Bam, that's our guest list." I mean, we got Steve Bloom, we've got Wendy Lee, Melissa Fawn, and Bo Billingsley. We've got a nice little voice cast list, and normally that'd be okay with Comic Con. Like that's a good voice cast, group for Comic Con, and we have our regulars. Little Karibo's come in, and a lot of fun people. And I was like, I'm gonna bring in Pink Burlesque Theater, and they're gonna do a Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's gonna be all fun and games. Uh, and then I got an email from Toby Proctor at Tuxedo Mask.
We know Toby, he's a cool guy, so I'm not surprised you got that email.
And he said the Sailor Moon guys, the Sailor Moon girls, not guys, well, him and the Sailor Moon girls were going on tour. And I looked around. I was like, "This is Comic Con's a big deal this year because it is my wedding,
Mhm.
and my fiance's biggest fandom is Sailor Moon. Uh,
Aw.
she is the biggest Sailor Moon fan in the entire world. So I am going to need to bring Sailor Moon. There was no question. We are just like, oh, we're bringing the Sailor Moon group. So we're bringing Linda, Toby, Katie, Griffin, Susan, Roman, and all them. They're all coming. And it's gonna be fun. That's what Tuxedo Mask, Sailor Moon, Sailor Mars, and Sailor Jupiter, and that's a pretty big group coming in. That was a fun announcement to do, and that's like wow, that's double the voice actors we normally do.
Yeah, that's why I was really surprised. I'm like, hey, maybe moving out of the school for them, like worked really well because I only hear kind of secondhand information from the staff that goes there, so I don't really know like the numbers or anything. But I was like, wow, maybe they should have started off of, out of school to begin with.
I think we helped grow. I think growing up in the school really humbled us well.
Mhm.
Um, so because we were free for the first 3 years, and we were kind of forced into having to charge and then moving out of the school. So I like the fact that we stayed in the school and that we were able to afford staying in the school for so long, and it keeps us on the set mindset of this is all about taking care of the fans and nothing else, and that's very important to me and our staff is that we are constantly thinking like you're taking care of the fans, always trying to make the best show possible. And he's like, well, nobody's ever thinking, how are we going to top it next year? It was like, well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to top it next year. We'll do it.
Well, it's actually kind of ironic because we talked to Bo last week, and I believe we talked to Linda at the very beginning of the month. I believe she was the first interview of the year, and both of them promoted the convention quite a bit. They both seemed very excited to attend, so I hope that they will have a wonderful time. You guys, I let them know that you guys always treat us right, so you know, I'm I might have given them some high expectations, so apologies for that, but I trust it'll all work out.
We will treat them well. They will be very happy as soon as they arrive, and we treat our guests like gods. um,
Well,
oh, go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, well, you guys also have the Miku concert as well.
Yes, actually, I was going to start talking about that. So,
I'm reading your mind.
yes, exactly. I actually have a list of things like don't forget to mention these and But yes, so I ended up. This is another thing that just kind of fell on my lap. I ended up going to a convention and making a close friend with Vocalette Visions with a guy named Wolf, and he is a professional tech in California. He does all the big shows like with Justin Timberlake, Dead Mouse, Metallica, stuff like that. And he's a pretty big audio technician. And I just made friends with him randomly at a convention, and he's like, "Oh, we work on Vocalette Visions. We run Miku concerts." And I was like, "Wow, that's really cool. I would love to have a Miku concert down south." And they run he runs really good Miku concerts, but Vocalette Visions ended up having some issues, and they ended up rebranding themselves and under Wolf as the new owner as SRP Productions. And now they are coming to Comic Con as a with a very nice Vocaloid concert. Their stuff looks really nice. They performed at PMX, and their show looks fantastic. I'm excited to have it. Plus he gets to do all the tech in that room where his show's going to be. So our tech's going to be beautiful because that's also where our rave's going to be. So going to use all that cool stuff to make our rave awesome.
Well, that sounds convenient because you don't need to be like, okay, what do you need, and we'll get it. It's like, well, you know better about this. We don't want to touch it and mess everything up.
I mean, since it's in the same room, we're going to use the really cool gear for our rave. So that's going to be nice.
Well, hopefully there's a lot of partying way into the night. So that sounds like a lot of fun for the attendees.
hmm I'm looking forward to seeing how much fun they're going to have.
And now, obviously, the wedding is the centerpiece, and I believe we've actually mentioned this a few years that we've done interviews together, just due to the fact that, we've been waiting for the final thing to happen, the ceremony to commence. So, is there anything you can say about that, or is it still like fairly under wraps until the actual ceremony happens?
Okay, a lot of it's going to be under wraps because we got some cool stuff involved in the wedding. I will say that it's not a cosplay wedding. She will be wearing a traditional wedding dress, and I'll be wearing, the tux and everything like that. That part of the wedding is a little more, real, normal type stuff. But there's going to be a lot of nerdy things at this wedding, and I wish I could, but it's a lot of it's big on surprise and stuff like that. So when it happens, I'm sure you will see YouTube videos of the stuff I pulled off for this wedding. It's going to be weird, and it's going to be really
Are
cool.
amazing. But
It's going to be fun.
well, for the listeners out there, anyone who wants to attend, I believe there's a dress code as well if they do want to see it, correct?
Yes, yes. The wedding itself is a semi-formal dress code because after all, it is a wedding. So jeans and a t-shirt is not going to cut it for you to enter the wedding ceremony. That said, there's a lot of other stuff at the convention, and there's wonderful reception that's going to take place where people can dance and have a good time. And the wedding itself doesn't take too long. The ceremony is just a fun event. But if you do want to attend the ceremony, that's a good excuse to get dressed up and nice. Also, if you want to go and cosplay, no wedding dress cosplays.
Yeah, that's
Wedding-
kind of that should go without saying. It's supposed to be, the bride's day to wear white. So,
Yeah, but it's good to say so no one shows up in their beautiful wedding gown cosplay that they worked so hard on that they wanted to bring to the wedding. We're just like, I'm sorry, you can't go inside because that's a bride thing. But other than that, no, we're gonna have a great time.
it sounds like a lot of fun, and for the listeners who want to look up more information, I know they can do that at your official website, kamecon.net, correct?
It's KAMICON.net. Yes.
And we will give them a short break to look up the website and everything else, so keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't. Hey, everybody out there, you're still tuned to 91.8 The Fan, and my special guest is still here, alive and breathing. He's okay.
Hello.
Yay!
Wow.
He actually was giving me tips during the break on how to barter at conventions in the dealer's hall, and I've never done this before. I always figure people have their set price. I don't want to be like, man, I wish this was $10 like cheaper. I've never done that, so I think that's really interesting that you actually do that.
Well, like as far as dealers room go, I always even when I was just a regular con goer, I wasn't a con chair. My favorite thing to do at a dealer's room was to barter. Barter was everything. I felt like I was living in like medieval times in the marketplace, just like I'll give you this much and blah 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 blah, and then they'd talk back and say no, yes, blah blah blah, and I already know every dealer pretty well to the point where it's like, oh, that dealer doesn't barter, that's fine, I'm just gonna leave them alone. But I love dealers that barter. They always are much stingier on Friday and much looser on Sunday because they don't want to take it back home. They don't want to take the merchandise back home. So one of the big tricks I always pulled off was I buy a lot of items. If you can buy more than one item from the same vendor, then you can be like, well, see, I'm buying all this stuff, so I mean, can I get it? Can I get it? At a decent discount? Like, I'll give you this much for it, and he'll be like, no, no, you have to give it for this much, like this much, and you get that whole, you know, 25, no 50, 35, 40, that kind of little back and forth. Um, Sometimes, and that's just that is my hobby at conventions is to pretend like I'm some old marketplace guy and just barter with dealers.
I can't believe that works because I've been at booths where I've done dealing before, but I've never actually, lowered a price or haggled with somebody. It's like this is the price and this is what what it is, and if you don't want it, I'm sorry, but hey, you can go to our website and buy it later when you have the money is kind of the mentality I've always had for it. So I didn't know that actually worked.
I feel like a bunch of dealers probably hate me right now. I'm sorry if that's like some secret. But like my very first convention I ever went to, the item I wanted wasn't an item for sale. Um, they had a back then I really liked Love Hina, which was a
Mhm.
Nakamatsu manga series. I didn't like the anime very much, but the manga I thought was a very fun series, and I had the whole collection. I had everything this man ever wrote, and they had a shelf, like a book stand, a Love Hina book stand, which they carried their manga on, and I wanted that book stand. I didn't want the manga. I didn't want anything else in that booth. I wanted the book stand, so I just started going like, "How much do you want for that?" And they're like, "That's not for sale." I'm like, "Yeah, but how much?" And so we just started bartering over the book stand, and I guess it never stopped. That was my first ever meeting with a vendor or a dealer. It was I was bartering over a book stand, and I got a decent price for the book stand. Bought it, put it in my car. I was really happy about it. Still have it to this day, and so every time I go to a vendor, I just start the bartering game, and it's just fun.
Well, my big thing when I'm shopping around in the dealer's hall is I'm big on figures. So oftentimes what I'm doing is I'm like, I know that figures will be priced differently depending on which booth you visit. So if I find a figure I want, I'm like, I know it's there, but I know I can find it at a different booth cheaper. In fact, when I was at Youmacon, I found a tiger action figure from Tiger and Bunny and him just standing there, and there one dealer was selling it at 108, and I'm like, that's not right. And then we looked the over the whole dealer's hall. I think it took like 30 minutes, and we finally found someplace else. I think Chris actually was the one who spotted it, and we finally found it cheaper, and it was $35.
That's nice.
That's my
Uh,
big thing. That's my fun thing to do.
I mean, I've done it before too. I found a figure, and I was just like, I'm gonna buy this figure, and I'm gonna find the cheapest one. I found what I thought was the cheapest one, which was like it was like a $90 figure or something like that, and I bartered for this thing. I got it down. I got it down to like $70 or something like that. It was like $90 to like $70. I was pretty happy with myself. He's like, well, if you buy something else, I'll give you for this price. And I found something else I really liked there, so I was like, oh, solid, man, got this thing. And I walk away with my $70 figure, and I swear to God, like two booths down, like I did not see it when I went combed the dealer's room before, and I walk right into the same figure for like 50, and I went, oh my God.
But you still got two items, so
It's true, but I was just like, it's cheaper before bartering.
I've done that before too. Like the one time I did it was when, you know what? I'm going to make sure that that never happens again. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled, and I always do because figure booths specifically are really interesting because there's so many boxes and some of them are hidden, so you have to kind of like lean over and like practically like dive across their table to see all of their stock.
I think I've gotten some dealers angry because I just like walk right to the back where their displays are and they're like, "You're not supposed to be back here." I'm like, "Oh, sorry." But they're on display, and a lot of times if I cosplay, I wear glasses, and if I cosplay without the glasses, I'm just like, I can't see at all. I can't see any of your display.
Yeah, a
But
lot of
yeah,
times too, you want to
those.
examine the box and see, all
Mhm.
sides of it. And so when you can't, and when the dealer's kind of busy because they're attending to somebody else, you can't ask them to bring it down. It's kind of like, well, I want to get closer. So I know the feel.
it it's always nice. But now that's this point, dealers tend to know me, so it's actually even better now because I was like, hey, I talked to you for about 30 minutes last time I was, well, like the last 2 years. Think you could cut me a deal? I was like, ah.
Gosh darn it. They probably know you. There's probably like a wanted sign on some secret dealer's board somewhere being like, this person barters, be careful. Oh,
That's
that
the
would be.
fun part of it. The bartering's the fun part.
I mean, I've done that at like Renaissance festivals. Not that I've been to one in quite a few years, but I've never thought to do that at a convention. So I will have to try that one day, and it'll either go very well for me or very poorly. We'll just have to see.
Now, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me well? Because I'm hearing like a kind of a disconnect between us right now on the Skype. Is everything
I'm hearing you fine. It could just possibly be Skype being weird because Skype is kind of a terrible program.
okay?
Skype, don't hire me for your commercials. I'm not your spokesperson. Well, in terms of the convention, though, I believe there was something else that you wanted the listeners to know about.
Oh yes. Well, Comic Con has always been a very safe, family-friendly convention. We do take very good care of our attendees, our guests, and it's always PG-13 because you can't help but at least be PG-13 at an anime convention because the guy next to you might start swearing, and I can't control him. At least too much is a lot of them, but we always are an interactive convention, and we always have a big game. This year's game, because it is Valentine's Day. We were hoping for people to, actually talk to one another, make friends and stuff like that. And we're like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make people actually talk to each other and force people to talk to each other? And it's like, obviously, they're not going to be forced to because they just don't have to play the game if they don't want to. But this year it is Heartless in Wonderland, and it's a trading card game. We have 5 trading cards. When you register, you get 5 of the exact same trading card. So we have our 2 con girls, Shio and Kosho. You might get 5 Shios. And when you pick up the 5 Shios, you will have to trade with somebody who has 5 Koshos for a Kosho. You give them a Shio, they give you a Kosho, yada yada. And when you get a full 5 set of 5, you can turn it in for points to be on your side, where it's going to be sci-fi or fantasy, or Cowboy Bebop versus Sailor Moon. Uh,
Oh,
and
that's hard. Why would you do that? That
so
hurts
the
my
sci-fi
childhood.
and if they whatever side wins gets to be the theme for next year's convention. So we get a sci-fi theme for next year's convention, or we get a fantasy theme for next year's convention. And the congoers get to choose based on the point system. So how many times they are able to collect 5 cards and turn it in. And after they turn in the 5 complete set, they get another set of just one type of card, and it's given back to them so they can trade all over again and get make more points for the game. And of course, you can make more points throughout the con, like winning a dodgeball contest or winning the cosplay contest. You have the option to turn in like a massive amount of points to your side, one or the other.
I hope
Yeah.
fantasy wins. I gotta pick a side, and I can't go. So somebody put in points for fantasy for me.
Okay, then. We already have sides fighting before the con starts. That's
Hey,
interesting.
that's the fun part. I'm a very competitive spirit, so
We like it when the con is up against each other. It's always more fun that way. Usually we're just like, oh, we got to save this one person, or we have to do this. But like Like the past years we've had where it's like you're gonna be able to pick which animal this egg will hatch into. Will it be a turtle, a tiger, a dragon, or a vermilion bird, which is the saint beasts of the Shinto religion. But it's it was a cool game where they got to like turn in their points and stuff like that and fight everybody else. Where it was like the turtles versus the dragons versus the birds and stuff like that, or light versus dark. The congoers really like to battle it out.
Well, that's what makes the experience fun and what makes the convention very unique from other conventions. So I applaud you for that.
Yes, yes, I think it's fun because a lot of people talk about how like con-wide games don't seem to work, but our con-wide game works really well, a little too well.
Now, I've
Because
only gotten a chance to play one or two convention games, and I think the best one I ever got to play was like a Monopoly-based one. You checked into certain rooms for money, and you could sell property and things like that, like sell rooms. It was so much fun.
oh, that's
And
clever.
I won. Mwah!
Yeah.
Mwah! I'm a competitive spirit, as I said.
Yeah, you should see the people in our dodgeball games.
Well, dodgeball is a scary experience, especially if somebody aims for the wrong place. I'm just saying.
They're just some really. I think they put them in tiers. Like I don't know who my head of games director or whatever. She puts them in tiers because there are some guys that can do like flips and stuff how they throw the balls. They're usually like cosplaying Ryu or something like that, and it's like that's impressive. Let's not have the children fight him.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like the best idea. You'd have so many dentist bills at the end of the convention.
I've only seen one time where somebody actually cracked his tooth in a dodgeball game at a con, and the person who did it was somebody threw a ball at this one guy. It was a Zabuza cosplayer, knocked him down, cracked his tooth against the cement. They had to take him in an ambulance and drive him away. But the guy who threw the ball was Vic Mañana.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, Vic Mañana felt so bad. It's not my convention. It was somebody else's convention. It was
Oh
actually one of the
God.
first conventions I ever went to. So I was like, "Who's Vic Mañana?" I don't even know. Like I was like a kid at the time, but yeah, that happened. I don't think Vic Mañana does dodgeball anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
he probably felt super bad about that.
yeah, he signed the dodgeball for him. He did a lot of great stuff for the kid, but and he's not a kid. He was an adult. He was a I say kid now, but he's probably just probably a little younger than I am. So he's probably in his 20s. But but yeah, Vic Mañana knocked him down and cracked his tooth or something, and I thought it was hilarious. And I was just like, that's amazing. But he treated it so well. He treated the kid so well, and the kid got up and was happy. But I'm pretty sure one of the times I've hired Vic Mañana, I've been told no dodgeball. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that was something we discussed, and I
Yeah,
thought about that.
I can
Like,
understand why. Anyway, for the fans out there, are there any other locations they can keep up to date on the convention?
with we have a Facebook account. Comic Con's Facebook account is not a like page; it's a friend page. But feel free to add them because my fiance wife will add you right away. Um, because she checks that thing all the time and she loves the Facebook Comic Con webpage. So that's usually a good way for a lot of people to post about Comic Con. That's a good way for people to shout out, like, I have a K-On! Group and I have, all the members except for Ritsu. We need a Ritsu. Can anybody be a Ritsu? And, if you want to be that Ritsu, you could probably rush on and be like, me, I'll do it. And, it's all, to make the con experience more fun for everybody.
Very awesome. And I believe you guys also have a Twitter as well.
We do have a Twitter. A little less active than the Facebook, but we do have a Twitter.
Well, to be fair, you can only have so much interaction on Twitter in comparison to Facebook. You've got, so much more that you can do on Facebook. But personally, I'm a Twitter fan, so I have to make sure that Twitter is represented.
I think it's just because I'm an old fuddy duddy. I'm just like, what is this Twitter? What are the kids doing these days with the tweets
Pinterest and Twitch, and I don't know anymore.
and the tumblers
Oh
and
yeah, the Tumblrg is what I call it.
Chelsea, my fiance, she's a Tumblr fanatic. She's like Chelzor the Destroyer on Tumblr, which is hilarious because she's a tiny little girl named Chelsea and she's Chelzor the Destroyer, which we decided was her cosplay name. That's a funny story, actually. So I think we went to we saw a couple booths of you know how cosplayers have like photographers have booths and stuff like that, and they have little
Right.
players and stuff like that and models.
Yeah.
And we saw all these like these cosplayer model names like Super Kawaii Ugu Chan or something like that. I was just like, yes, yes, this is these are all cosplay names, and we're looking at them. And my fiance, she started cosplaying, and she got one really good one that she premiered at AWA and was really proud of, and she's starting to work really hard on them. And I was like, you need a cosplay name. And he was like, what's your cosplay name going to be? And we decided on Chellzor the Destroyer.
I think that's amazing. I
I think
think it's
that's one of the
absolutely
best.
amazing.
She's on Facebook too, Chellzor the Destroyer, spelled with
Oh
a
yes,
Z.
so there you go. If you want to look at nice cosplay pictures of I'm assuming
Yeah.
she doesn't cosplay like super strong women too.
Her cosplays have been like Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service, and Chi, and Ika Muzune, or Squid Girl for those. And her biggest one was lately was Amy from Suicide No Gargantuan, which she's really proud of. And
Oh yeah, so super super buff chicks. The name totally matches. I love it.
yeah. Next year she's gonna her new lineup is Trogdor, and she's gonna go as Goku. Yeah, Femme Goku, but she's gonna be huge and Armstrong. Louise Armstrong. Those are
That'll
her
work
next
perfect.
cosplay.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners out there? Any words of wisdom? Anything we missed? Any dating advice? Forecast for the end of the world? So on and so forth.
Forecast for the end of the world? No, no. I could always to con goers all over the world. I love con goers, and for those of you who are not con goers, it's always fun to go to a con. Comic Con's big thing is that we understand because when we were free, we had people come to us and just in tears, thanking us for what we were doing. We understand that there are some people out there that they feel isolated in their high schools and or colleges or work or whatever. I've had adults talk about how they feel isolated at work, where they feel like they're the only person that's an anime fan around, and conventions are such an important thing to be around because it's like saying, I'm the only person in the world that likes football. I'm such a weirdo. I don't like football. And then they go to the Super Bowl and go, it's a wonderful, all-inspiring event for everybody. And that is one of the biggest things that we try to do with Comic Con. We want to bring you something because we are not the biggest con in the Southeast, not by far, not by a long shot. But we want to give you all something unique, something special. So if I put together the first Cowboy Bebop reunion and say, bam, Comic Con has it, the Southeast can have a Cowboy Bebop reunion, the Southeast can have the Sailor Moon voice cast, and the Southeast can have a really nice Vocaloid, which is a big one as well. I didn't really get to go see it. I don't know what the quality of it was, but Comic Con also have a Vocaloid concert with SRP Productions, and it's really pretty. And if you want to look it up, look up SRP Productions and their Vocaloid concert at PMX because it's pretty and they're trying to um, do even better for Archon and stuff like that. So I want you all to know that just have fun. Every year at the start of Comic Con, I tell everybody what makes the con special is not the guests. I want to bring them here for you, but when you turn around to your neighbor and if you treat them like a jerk, then they can walk away from the convention thinking it's the worst convention that they have ever been to because of you. And if you turn around to your neighbor that you don't know and you treat them with kindness, they can really walk away from that convention thinking it's the best convention that they ever went to. So the most powerful person at a convention is not the staff, not the guest. It's always the con goers. And if we can constantly promote this happy mentality, this mentality of friendship amongst each other and kindness amongst each other, you can really make somebody's day. You can make or break someone's convention experience. And I prefer the idea of everybody making the convention experience for everybody.
I think that's awesome advice. I think that's the best advice we've ever gotten from a convention chair. So thank you so much for that, and thanks for joining us for second, third, fourth, a
I think
bajillion time.
yeah.
It's hard to remember. It's been so many years. But no, thank you for joining us once again.
I'm always happy to come. Invite me even when there's no con. I'll just start chatting about dealers' rooms or something.
That's perfect. And for any of the listeners out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. You can find it on the website within the next few days. So keep your eyes peeled to 918thefan.com and your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.